All right, so a gang is an organized group of criminals with defined leadership that lays claim of control over a territory in a community.
So like an HOA.
Yeah, dude.
They're the modern gangs.
Yeah. Welcome back to Short Pour. We're your hosts. I'm Chris.
And I'm Brandon.
And today we are going to be going back into the annals of an earlier episode of this podcast where we talked about the original Pilsner, where Pilsners came from.
Czech Pilsners.
Which was Czech Pilsner, right? So today we have the premium Czech Lager from Czechvar. And it is imported from Czech Republic. It's brewed there. It's made there. And so their Czech Lager is, like, that is the basis of, like, that is what a Pilsner originally was.
Yeah.
So that's what this here is. They say the classic Pilsner, brewed by the original company with a very famous name. The pour is golden in color with classic spicy fruity aromas that Saaz hops imparts. Saaz hops?
Saz? What?
Saaz hops? S-A-A-Z.
Saaz.
Saaz.
Saaz? Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. That's Saaz hops imparts. It is beautifully balanced with a crisp finish. We should taste a balanced, biscuity, toasty flavor, and it comes in at 5% ABV.
All right. It does smell like a pre-limed Corona.
It does, yeah. It's like, I don't mean this in a bad way. It's like a little bit skunky.
Yeah.
But not in a bad way.
Yeah, it's, well, I already read one of the reviews for it, so I won't say it, but we can bring it back up at the end.
Okay, that is like a little skunky.
Yeah, they call it light skunk.
Light skunk. Yeah, dude, maybe I am getting better about talking about these beers.
Yeah, you are. That might be like a light to medium skunk.
Yeah. Dude, that's wild.
It is. I think part of it is that, like, from smelling it, I assume to like Corona. Mm-hmm. It does not. It tastes very different from that. Actually,
it does. It does taste like a more full flavored, like Miller Lite kind of like.
Yeah.
So it is different though. There's like something more in there.
Yeah,
it's way more complex.
Right. Yes.
It's also not very carbonated.
No. Yeah, you're right. I couldn't tell you what that other taste is.
But there's something.
I just know there's something.
Maybe it's that Saaz.
Yeah.
Okay, so as I already mentioned, and we like learned before, this was the original Pilsner. This is where Pilsners, like as a, archetype of beer comes from. Do you mean, what would you call that then? Like, what's another name for something being like the original of something?
Like the OG?
The OG,
all
baby.
All right.
So we're gonna be looking at the origins of like the term and like the original gangsters. So today, the term OG signifies either someone who's old school, someone who's been doing something for a long time, or as a way to give someone their due respect for being exceptional at something.
Okay. I feel like I almost always hear it implied in the second one. Like you've just been doing this for a long time.
Yep, you've been around.
You've been here a while.
Yep. But apparently, I guess like in some circles, it is a way to like show like, even if they haven't necessarily been around like super long, if someone's like really good at something, I guess some people would be like, yeah, that guy's an OG, man. Like he's got it. I don't know, whatever, in whatever respect they're talking about. But so the term was originally used in gang culture in LA during the 1970s as the original name, or as the first name of the Crips. Apparently their first name was Original Gangster Crips. That was their name.
The OG Crips.
That was their name.
Dude, they knew the future, man.
That was their name. So like they were the first gang in LA, and I guess like after like very quickly after they like came up with the name and like started operating there, they would like shorthand their name to OG, and then whatever like chapter or whatever they were in. So it would be like the OG East Sides. You know what I mean? Yeah. And they would just signify that they were in the Crips, but they were the East Side chapter, or like, I don't know what you would call that.
This is starting to feel very fratty.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I also wrote in here, so like the OG East Sides or like OG Orange County.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Could you imagine,
that's,
dude?
Yeah, that's like the... I don't want to send anyone after me, but, like, just doesn't have the same kind of,
Yeah. The OG Beverly Hills chapter. Yeah. I'm a legacy.
Yeah.
So through like the 70s and into like the early 80s, as the Crips expanded, younger members started using that term OG for the older members. And so like it kind of became like a term to show seniority.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
So then that's where they started like saying like, oh yeah, that guy's an OG. Right? Just signifying like, yeah, this guy's been here for a while. He's been in it a lot longer. So apparently around that time also like it was, I don't know. It does like, it's kind of like a nice term to use or whatever. Like it sounds nice or whatever, like you get what it means.
Yeah.
So like it caught on. So
yeah, well, I don't know if you're going to go here, but I feel like I didn't hear that term like regularly used until like maybe like the early 2010s.
Okay,
you know
so
what I mean?
yeah,
like it wasn't like I never heard that term when I was like a little kid or anything.
Yeah, it's like way more popular now. People use it for like everything now, for sure. But so the next people to use it before, you know, us, like the mainstream, the next people to use it before it like really caught on were other gangs. Okay, so I guess like other gangs just were like, oh, that's a good way to like.
Cool.
Yeah, that's a good way to show like who's been here longer. So I guess then the Bloods started using it after that.
No.
And then after that, like, you know, a lot of gangs just like started using it as like their hierarchy signifiers. So it hit mainstream usage in the 80s when rappers started using it in their songs. Mm-hmm. And then that's when people started, I guess, like using it kind of like in a wrong way to describe someone who was like a badass.
Oh, yeah. Right? Okay. I still think I've heard it used that way.
Yeah.
I think some people still use it in that
exactly.
way. Exactly.
I think that kind of goes in like with somebody who's like an expert in their field or whatever.
Yeah.
But also but like, I think actual gang members were like mad or whatever because like that's not even what it means. Like it's not like because they would use it for people who were not affiliated with a gang in any aspect. So then it started kind of branching out to where like, you know, kid in elementary school is like, oh, that's the OG whatever, you know,
suffering from their own success.
Yeah,
making a cool term. Hey, you're using our made up word wrong.
Yeah, but like all of this, like researching into like the term OG, then like got me thinking of like surely like the Crips weren't the actual first gang, right?
Yeah, no, because I mean, I guess I don't know like how everything operates, but I mean, I think like when I think of like gangsters, like there's like that version, but then there's also like the, you know, like 20s and 30s for, you know, like all in suits and stuff, like that's another version that I think of. Yep,
exactly. So like that got me thinking of like, I was like, there's no way they are the actual original gangsters, right? They may have been like the first gangs in LA, but they were not the actual OG gangsters then. So who is? And we're going to talk about that after this break.
All right. I was like, I don't know. I thought that's why I was listening.
All right, so a gang is an organized group of criminals with defined leadership that lays claim of control over a territory in a community. And that seems like a really like long-winded definition, but it does kind of make sense of like they're organized, they have some sort of like structure, like hierarchy, and it is about like the control of one place.
So like an HOA.
Yeah, dude.
They're the modern gangs.
Yeah. Oh man, I had to look into
that. The MGs, the modern gangsters.
Karen is the big boss. So before that, also before like what we think of as gang today, the original usage, there were a couple of terms, like Old English and then like Old Norse also had a term, but they were used as a term to either mean like a grouping of people or even like of objects. So like, I guess that's still technically a definition, but it's used a lot less of like, if you had like a bundle of something, you could also call it a gang of something.
Yeah. I mean,
or like that, gang, like you're like gang wires together and stuff or something like that.
Yeah. Or like green.
Green?
Sorry. It was a gang green.
Oh my God. Gang green.
Sorry.
I did not follow you.
No,
to that
but there's like that, you know, like it comes off super cheesy now, but if you were to like address people, you know, like, hey gang, like,
yes!
yeah, like
yes. So I even actually wrote that like clearly like Scooby-Doo used that term all the time.
Yes, yeah,
and they're like
the main guy. He always like addressed
Fred.
Yes,
hey,
he always addressed when he was going to lay
exactly.
out his plan.
And like, I mean, I don't. Shaggy and Scooby, maybe, into some illegal illicit activities. But I think as a whole, the Scooby-Doo and the gang were not doing anything super illegal.
Right. Yes.
So like that's like where it like comes from, right? That's the etymology of like the term. Okay. So let's go back through history and work our way back to the actual original gangsters. Some gangs that came before the Crips were some of what you were thinking about, the Al Capone gang in Chicago in the early 1900s. Those were like the Tommy gun people.
Yes, yeah.
And like in suits like and everything. And
violin case or something. Or guitar case, whatever the hell they carried.
Yeah. Before them, in the late 1800s, was the Italian-American mafia, or the mob.
Yeah.
Right? Apparently, like, a mafia, I guess I don't know what the term mafia is, but like, there are other mafias as well. Like, the Irish mafia, there was a Sicilian mafia. Oh. I guess, and that was an actual in the old country in Italy and stuff. Yeah. That was like more of the horsehead people and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, and as we continue to go back in history, some of the names of these gangs are wild. They don't name gangs like this, I feel like, anymore. Before the mafia, we had the YOs.
Oh boy.
That sound like a barbershop quartet or something.
Yes.
It's literally WHYOS. The YOs.
WHYO. Yeah. Oh,
like I imagine them like coming in like doing something like a bum ba dum ba dum like something, like, we'll take your money.
Yeah. Prepare to die.
Yeah. Okay, so we also had a lot of gang activity like before the Civil War, like right before the Civil War.
Oh, okay.
Specifically in New York and on the East Coast. So we had the 5 Points Gang, the Dead Rabbits, the Bowery Boys,
okay,
and the Plug Uglies. That was their name.
I like that.
The Plug Uglies.
I like that one. Some
of that might sound familiar because those gangs were actually the ones depicted in the movie Gangs of New York.
Yeah, I was gonna say all those sound like good names except for the Bowery Boys.
Yeah. Really? You think Plug Ugly sounds like a good name?
Sounds like someone I don't want to mess with.
Hey, they got us talking about it.
Yeah. The Bowery Boys, I guess it sounds too close to dowry. And so I just think they're like a bunch of rich boys. Like they're all in those little blue, school like uniform suits with the red tie. That's what they're all in my head.
I guess I thought about like that guy who in a Brother Where Art Thou just is like, stay out of the Woolworths.
That's just a word. That's just a cashier.
Exactly. Yeah, they don't sound like super intimidating. Okay, so before them, we have the first organized crime gang in America, and this was in the early 1820s, and that was the 40 Thieves.
Ooh,
that's a cool name,
dude. Aren't they in a movie with like Aladdin?
Yeah, that's just the King of Thieves, right?
The King of Thieves. Okay. I knew that there was something of.
I think you got confused with the 40 Days and 40 Nights.
I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, I think that's
is that
what
the movie with the guy from Black Hawk Down?
I think it's the movie with. I think Sinbad's in it.
I can't tell if you're messing with
me.
No,
I'm messing with you.
Okay.
I'm messing with you. Okay, so like we said, at least in America, the definition of a gang, as it were, is for them to be like highly like structured and organized in one area. So before the 40 Thieves in America, there were, I guess, like kind of gangs where it was like loosely like a gang. But I think that would be more categorized as bandits, like banditry. Oh. So there were groups of like people who would like go around and like commit crimes, but they would either like travel to different places. So they weren't necessarily a gang because they didn't control a territory.
Area? Yeah.
Right? It wasn't in a community. Or they would do something like once, but it wasn't like this is like our job. Like this is what we're doing.
So are you talking about like outlaws?
Yes, yeah,
outlaws.
Like
Bonnie and Clyde and stuff like that? Okay.
Apparently Bonnie and Clyde did belong to a gang. It got a little like weird about like, I think it was the Bonnie and Clyde gang. But like, yeah, they also like just became outlaws and like started running around. Like, so I don't know.
Could you imagine being in a gang that's just named after like a specific person or, two people or something? Mm-hmm. Like, I feel like that's like those bands that are like, the Bonnie and Clyde Experience. Like, it's like
Dave
named
Matthews
after themselves.
Band.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, Dave Matthews Gang.
Dave Matthews Gang. We can cut this out because maybe I'm exposing myself here. Is Dave Matthews like a person in the band?
Dave Matthews is it's just Dave Matthews.
Oh, it's just him?
Well, I mean, I think it's kind of like Panic at the Disco, where like he pays people to play other parts. Like he doesn't play every part.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's just him basically.
Okay. There's another band I think I'm getting confused with them. That's like the name of somebody, but it's like multiple people. I can't. It's like they're kind of like the Dave Matthews Band. I don't know.
Hootie and the Blowfish?
Yeah. No, Hootie's definitely real.
Yeah.
I've seen him.
I've never seen a blowfish. I don't believe in that.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's like the oldest gang in America, but there are two more older ones in like very definite recorded history before the 1800s. In the 1760s. Do you want to take a wild stab at what the two older ones are?
India Trading Company? No, they're not.
No, they're not.
I don't know.
Okay. Because they're legal.
In Britain,
they were legal, though.
Well, some of the stuff they were doing wasn't.
Yeah. But, okay, in the 1760s, the world saw the creation of the triads from China.
Oh, damn.
Yep.
Okay. Well,
and so then even...
The Yakuza?
Yeah, the Yakuza are the actual OGs.
Oh, man.
They were first formed in 1612 and are still active in Japan today. Apparently, they have over 30,000 members, and they like generate I think it said more than $5 billion of like revenue that like goes through them a year.
Untaxed, I bet.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Well,
tax free.
There's some dues I think you got to pay. But
yeah.
So like those two in particular have been operating for so long because I guess like it's pretty famous of like one of them has like if you do something like cut your pinky off or something to get in.
What?
Right?
Maybe, I don't know.
And apparently they have like very intense like initiation things and like it takes years to get like not like made, I guess, because that's the mafia, but like like incorporated into like an actual position.
That seems like a poor way to, because now everyone stands out. You know what I mean? Like if I'm looking for someone connected to that group, I'm like, well, just check to see if they have a pinky.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. But I feel like it's one of those things where like with the courts today, like without any proof, like this guy just didn't have a pinky.
Just
that's
happens to be missing a pinky. Yeah, it's still bleeding, but
yeah. But apparently that's like the major way that they have continued to operate because police can't infiltrate them because like their initiation process is just it's too
much,
way too involved. So
really,
yep. So the OGs are the Yakuza from Japan.
Jeez, all right,
actual first gang, and that's all I got. All right, so about this Czech Lager, what's the word on the street?
All right, so we got a little longer review today.
A little lager review.
Yeah. So this person's from New Hampshire, and that will make sense in a second.
Okay.
Sourced 2 cases of this stuff in the neighboring state of Maine. Best by date.
That does make sense.
November 2024. So can't imagine finding fresher. The sales rep drove it over himself rather than wait to distro delivery. Is this some sort of like backdoor deal of like,
yeah, what the hell?
Hey, don't deliver 2 cases to that price chopper up there in Maine. I want you just
come to me.
Head right over here.
Yep.
As an Urkel fanboy, I've wanted to compare this for a long while, which is another Czech.
Yeah, that's another original one. Yeah.
Short of my eventual visit to the Czech Republic, imported bottles will have to suffice for now. This guy's like
that guy's in deep, man. That guy is in the hobby.
While the slight over-hop imbalance favors Urkel, letting the Saz shine. It came up twice. Oh, this is the other thing I was going to ask you. Everyone keeps calling it Budvar instead of Czechvar.
Oh, Budvar.
They say it tastes like a better version of Bud.
Oh, okay.
They call it Budvar, yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
So Budvar.
I thought I was like, are you supposed to say Czech?
The right?
Is it the... Is it the Bud Republic?
CZ makes a B sound. Everyone knows that. Budvar does the opposite and lets the doubled Decocted malts shine. I've had about 30 of these so far.
Oh my God.
Not today.
Okay.
And finally getting around to this on a clean palate. It's delicious, and I think this is a typo. Silly smooth? I think it's supposed to be silky.
I don't know, man. I can see this. Dude, this thing is silly smooth, man.
Yeah.
I can see that being a thing.
Yeah, I couldn't tell. Could drink dozens in a sitting without issue. Well, issues may result. Edit. After realizing that I've rated both this and Pilsner Urquell at 4.44 each, I'm just going to go ahead and bump them up wildly to reflect how much I've come to love these near-perfect Czech Pilsners. And I feel like he's just like general Czech fan.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, he wants to go there just to drink the beer.
Yeah, he's already planned it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it is silly good.
Yeah, and the proof is in the pudding.
Yeah, it is good.
It was good. I mean, I was done, well before we got to the Yakuza and everything. So
yeah, I finished up right after the Yakuza because I was talking. But I think this is a really good beer for somebody who likes beer but isn't super into it. It wants to have something just slightly different because it is definitely better than domestic,
right?
Pilsners like that. It tastes a lot better.
I think this would be a good beer for someone who's I want to start trying. I only drink Miller Lite and Bud Light. I want to start trying more. I want to start trying more of them.
I want to check something.
All right, let's
check some more out.
let's branch out with this. Yeah. Thanks for listening. As always, if you want to like or subscribe, please follow us on Instagram at shortpourpodcast or send us a suggestion through email at shortpourpod@gmail.com.
And as always, whether you pour short
or pour long,
always finish.